A year ago, I built something completely unnecessary and absolutely awesome. A fully custom mini go-kart designed around one ridiculous requirement. It had to fit in the trunk of my car. The idea was simple. Build a machine I could take anywhere, anytime. I ripped it through city streets, attacked sidewalks, even invaded abandoned buildings like this one. On paper, 9 kilowatts doesn't sound insane, but when you strap that into something this small and this light, it's more than enough to make it fly. And definitely enough to send it sliding sideways across dusty concrete floor. To make that happen easily on streets, I ordered a pair of plastic sleeves. On the inside, they have 4 ribs that prevent the tire from slipping inside the sleeve. Installation is super simple. Deflate the tire, slide the sleeve on, and inflate them again. Repeat the same thing on the other wheel and we are ready to test it. The black marks on the pavers in my yard don't exactly make me happy, but unfortunately they are the only proof of how much fun this thing was to drive. Somehow I managed to lose all the footage from the rest of the runs with these sleeves. And unfortunately I can't film this setup right now, because of the current outdoor situation. Yes, it's winter. And pretty much every surface is already slippery enough as it is. In fact, plastic sleeves aren't even needed, because those slick tires have zero grip on snowy surfaces. That means we're not going anywhere and we're definitely not drifting in a fun way. So this grip issue is a problem number 1. Problem number 2, this mini go-kart was designed to be driven on smooth surfaces. It has about 5 cm of ground clearance, which in winter is just ridiculous. It will work more like a snowplow than something that can ride or slide sideways. And finally, the problem number 3, the front steering geometry works like a traditional kart. That means when you turn the steering wheel fully, only one front tire stays on the ground. The other one actually lifts up. Without proper front tire's grip, I won't be able to control the slide properly, so I'll need to make a few small modifications to the steering system. But let's start with the tires and wheels. Swapping go-kart slicks for a go-kart winter tires will only solve the traction problem. The kart will still drag its belly through the snow and probably get stuck more often than it drives. So I need a larger wheel diameter. The first idea that came to mind was adopting mid-size ATV wheels and tires. I actually had a pretty solid visual reference to make that decision. The R8 ATV runs R7 wheels with 16 by 8 inch tires, and that setup looked acceptable. But once I compared it to the green ATV with R8 wheels and much beefier tires, yeah, size-wise and looks-wise, I'm 100% going with a bigger, beefier option. And realistically, I can't just borrow those wheels from the ATV. First of all, my kids will not approve that move. Second, those tires are already pretty worn, and they barely grip in the snow anyway. So I ordered a brand new setup, different with R8 rims for front and rear, and after digging through tons of tire options, I picked these. And honestly, just placing the bare tires next to the kart already makes this thing look ridiculously sick. Now, mounting these R8 ATV wheels was never going to be a straightforward job. Both the number of mounting holes and their layouts are different. The go-kart hub uses a 3-bolt pattern, while ATV wheel needs 4 bolts with completely different spacing. So the only real solution here is a custom adapter. After measuring all the critical dimensions, I quickly designed the adapter and printed a test version on my 3D printer. A quick tip: even though a 3D printer is a very precise machine, I always recommend tapping all threaded holes with a proper tap. That way the threads are absolutely perfect and the bolts can literally be screwed in by hand. With the adapter bolted on the go-kart hub, it's time for a test fit with the ATV wheel. And that's what I call a perfect fit. Same story up front. Fits like a glove. Now obviously, because of strength concerns, I can't run plastic adapters long term, so I jumped over to PCBWay's website, selected their CNC machining service, uploaded the finalized adapter files, chose the quantity and picked aluminum as the material. 6061 aluminum is more than strong enough for this application. I could have gone really fancy here and chosen one of their surface finish options like anodizing in sleek colors, brushed or bead blasted surfaces, powder coating or even spray plating, but since these parts will mostly be hidden, a standard CNC machine finish is absolutely perfect. That said, it's always good to know PCBWay offers such a wide variety of finishing options if you ever need them, and if something in your design needs tweaking, their engineers will actually help you fix it before production, which has saved me more than once. 7 days later, the box landed on my doorstep. Even the packaging tells you there's something worth protecting inside. And yeah, that's absolutely true. The adapters look flawless, measurements are spot on, and the CNC finish is really nice. So now it is time to get rid of those plastic mock-ups and bolt on some brand new aluminum adapters. Before I can even think about tightening the wheels onto the hubs, the tires have to go onto the rims first. And that can be a challenge all on its own. The new rims have no air valves, so with the help of an inflate adapter as a handle, I installed them first. Next, I covered both sides with a generous amount of tire mounting paste and positioned the rims so the rounded edge was facing upward. From there, it was mostly pressing, wedging, questioning my life choices, and a very respectable amount of swearing until the tire finally gave up and snapped onto the rim. But like with any job, the more you do it, the faster and easier it gets. Same with these tires. The last one was an absolute walk in the park. I pumped some air into them to seat the beads properly and then secured everything in place using quite unique self-locking screws. The small serrations on the ball heads bites into the surface just enough to keep them firmly in place, while also adding resistance against loosening over time. So with new rims and tires I have solved 2 issues out of 3. It now have proper grip and decent ground clearance, but still questionable steering geometry. The original Go-Kart steering geometry has a lot of intentionally built-in caster. That means the front spindle sits at an angle, which causes one of the tires to lift off the ground during a turn. For this build, I need to get rid of that and set the spindles perfectly perpendicular to the ground. And unfortunately, there was only one real way to fix it. Cut into this nicely powder-coated frame and relocate the spindle brackets. To make my life easier, I built a jig from scrap wood and few 3D printed parts. It allowed me to position the spindles at exact height and location I needed, but the new position required even more space at the front, which meant the old bumper had to go. With everything opened up, I could finally place the spindle brackets where they belong, double check all the measurements, make a few small adjustments, and weld them in permanently. Here is side-by-side comparison of relocated spindle bracket versus the original one. Even by eye, the difference is pretty significant. Once the second bracket was repositioned and welded in, I went back to solve the bumper situation. To reinstall it, I welded in a pair of 90-degree round pipe elbows. That lowered the entire nose slightly and created enough clearance above for the tie rods and spindles to move freely. After cleaning up the welds, all exposed metal surfaces were covered with primer and paint. The spray paint dries quickly, but it is obviously not as durable as powder coating, so I focus mainly on the critical visible areas to help everything blend back in with the frame. Since the front spindles had moved quite a bit, the original tie rod mounting point no longer worked. I fabricated a 5mm steel adapter to bridge the gap and bolted it down with 3 M8 bolts. With the tie rods back in place, a fair amount of adjustment was needed. Luckily, that sorted out just by turning the adjustment rods until the spindles sit exactly where they should. Finally, the entire front assembly could go back together, starting with the spacers, then the wheel hubs with the adapters attached, and finishing by bolting the wheels back on. After all that work, both wheels turn smoothly, and most importantly, both tires stay planted on the ground. The only question left is how it feels in action. The larger wheels with gripper tires, the increased ground clearance, and the corrected steering geometry completely transformed this mini go-kart. Now I've got all the grip I need, but I can still make it slide on icy surface and have an absolute blast. The additional ground clearance makes it almost unstoppable, at least until it meets a snow pile big enough to fight back. The larger diameter wheels gave me a nice bump into top speed, but I definitely lost some low-end acceleration. Since gearing options are pretty much maxed out, the next logical upgrade might be the more powerful motor and controller setup for this little fun machine. So what do you think? Which motor should I go with? Leave a comment down below and I'll see you in the next one.